discuss systems of equation questions as they appear on Smarty Prep. So systems of equations usually refer to systems of linear equations when you're talking about math questions on Smarty Prep. And the idea is it's important to understand the connection between the graphical relationship of two lines and what that means on an equation level or algebraically. So here we have that there's a simple idea that you really need to get down, which is that when you have two lines, a solution of those two lines is the same thing as an intersection point. So no solution means that the lines are parallel, meaning they have no intersection points, never intersect. And then infinite solutions means that these two lines are on top of each other, or I guess you could think of them as the same line. So it's extremely important to recognize that connection because problems will consistently try to get you to think more deeply by phrasing the question in kind of the opposite way that you want to think about it, right? So maybe thinking of it graphically is more interesting or more helpful, and they will phrase things algebraically talking about solutions rather than intersection points, and vice versa. So it's extremely important to know that basic idea, and to know that if two lines intersect, that to solve that, to solve the equations that represent the lines, you would set them equal to each other, right? Because it's a solution. Okay. When you are solving for two equation solutions, i.e., their intersection points, you have two options: substitution and elimination. Generally, it's better to favor elimination over substitution. However, sometimes substitution makes more sense. So when you have, like in this case, where you have 4x equals y as one of the equations, it's very easy to put a single term substitution in for a variable. So we can just plug in 4x in for y. As you can see, from moving from step 1 to step 2, so we plug in 4x in for the y that's multiplied by 15 in the first equation. We simplify it, and then we just solve for x, which is 7. To find the other value, of course, we just plug that value of 7 in for x in one of the original equations and just solve for y from there. Elimination is requires that you put the two equations over each other, and you think about what you want to multiply by one of the equations so that when you add the equations together, one of the terms disappears. So in this case, we have 2x minus 5y equals negative 7 and 6x plus 3y equals negative 3. To me, the easiest thing in terms of what to get rid of first, even if we were to be solving for x initially, it's easier to get rid of it initially because you can see that all we need to do is multiply the entire first equation by negative 3 in order to get a negative 6x in the top equation, which when added to positive 6x in the bottom equation will disappear. So that's exactly what happens in step 3 here. After we multiply the equation by negative 3, we see the result up top here, and now we can just add the two equations together, and that's where we get rid of the x's, and we just are left with 18y equals 18. From there, we know y equals 1, and like we said before, for substitution, the same thing goes for elimination. When you solve for the other variable, it's just a matter of plugging in the number that you got. For, in this case, we solve for y first, so we plug that back into y for one of the original equations, solve for x, and there we have it with step 4. All right, that's all we have for system of equations, so happy skill building and good luck on Smarty Prep.